I was working at the office the other day, looking for articles about fish. As usual, I somehow ended up going way off track until I stumbled upon something called the Mercy Brown vampire incident. Basically, it was a case of people misunderstanding a TBC because medical science wasn't that advanced yet during the Victorian. Back then, people still strongly believed in supernatural things. And in the Mercy Brown vampire incident, the disease that stroked the family members was thought to be caused by a vampire. That got me thinking. The belief in vampires already existed in the Victorian era, and since Identity V is a horror game, why not add a vampire character? Turns out, I wasn't the only one who thought of that. Some people I talked to on Discord also wanted a vampire in the game, and a few even mentioned the possibility of a crossover, like with Castlevania. So, I started imagining, what would it be like if Identity V actually had a vampire character? It would be so cool, right? Then I started typing, making details of this OG character, and eventually, I got carried away and ended up creating around 10 character concepts instead of just one. Today, I just want to share a bit about the original characters that popped into my head. I think some of them could really fit into Identity V. I'm not great at drawing, so I don't have any pictures of these concept characters, but I'll include their names, backstories, and a bit about their abilities. Why only a bit? Well, I'm not exactly an expert in gameplay balance, so I'm afraid I might make the abilities too weak or way too overpowered. Anyway, let's get started. The vampire was the first thing that came to my mind when I started writing the script, so let's begin with that. I imagine the vampire not as a hunter, but as a survivor. Her name is Elsie Westenra, a young lady with a mysterious yet sad aura. Elsie lived in a small town where one day, a strange disease began to spread. Her entire family died, one by one, leaving her as the only one still alive. The townsfolk, who were also suffering from the same illness, started spreading rumors that Elsie survived because she had been consuming the souls of her family. One morning, she woke up to find blood on her lips, with no memory of what happened. Terrified and confused, she ran away as the angry townspeople accused her of being a vampire. Since then, Elsie has been hiding, from people, from sunlight, and from the world itself. She doesn't truly believe she's a vampire, but being cut off from everything slowly makes her doubt her own humanity. Rumors later spread about an elixir and someone in elitist manner who might hold the answer to her condition. Hoping to either break or end the curse, Elsie decided to go there. Now, the name Westenra is inspired by Lucy Westenra, a character from Dracula, which is a novel by Bram Stoker. As for her ability, since she's used to hiding and avoiding danger, she has an unusually sharp sense for it. She can detect hunters from a farther distance than other survivors. Plus, she moves faster when she's in covered areas, like under roofs, but slower when she's out in the open. She can also drain blood from a healthy survivor to cure herself, and make the healthy survivor damaged in the process. It's like drinking the barmaid's Dovlin, but with the effect of Ada's whistle. I kind of picture her as a strong kiter in tight or enclosed spaces. But like I said before, I'm not the best when it comes to balancing gameplay, so feel free to adjust that idea however you like. We can't really talk about a vampire without mentioning a vampire hunter, right? So let's add one. The vampire hunter's story is closely connected to the vampires since both of them came from the same town. The hunter is a man named George Helsing. His name is inspired by Abraham Van Helsing, the famous vampire hunter from Bram Stoker's Dracula. George came from a small town that was struck by a mysterious and deadly disease. People were dying one after another, and soon, rumors began to spread that a certain young woman was the cause of it all. That woman was his childhood friend, Elsie Westenra. George refused to believe the rumors. He couldn't imagine Elsie being behind such a tragedy. But one night, he heard a commotion in his house. Through a small crack in the wall, he saw something that shattered his world. It was Elsie, his childhood friend, and she was drinking the blood of his family. Horrified and unable to act, he watched as his loved ones fell victim to her. By morning, Elsie had vanished, and a few days later, George's entire family was dead. From that moment on, George's life became empty. He dedicated himself to hunting down what he believed were vampires, driven by rage and betrayal. His true goal, however, was to find Elsie, the one person he once trusted but now saw as his greatest enemy. Over time, his obsession led him to Oletus Manor, where he began working with the manor's staff to gather information and set a trap that might finally lure Elsie. I'm still unsure whether George should be a hunter or a survivor. If he's a hunter, maybe he could be a figure that only exists in Elsie's mind, or something she imagines because of the effects of the drugs. As for his ability, I imagine he could mark a survivor. Once marked, George can trace that survivor's whereabouts, making it easy to find them. The survivor's fear radius, however, becomes wider, making them able to detect George as well from very far away. But in return, George would move faster when chasing the person he marked as a vampire. Furthermore, he wields a gun so he can also shoot a survivor from afar. Being a midwife in the 17th century was tough. People often accused anyone who practiced medicine, especially midwives, of being witches. That idea became the base for this character, a female hunter named Amelia Jones, whose role is the witch. Her name is inspired by Margaret Jones, a real historical figure accused of witchcraft in Massachusetts Bay during the 17th century witch hunts. For years, Amelia worked as a midwife and healer, helping countless villagers through childbirth and other illnesses. But one winter, tragedy struck. A child she helped deliver passed away, and the grieving mother soon died as well. The child's father, who happened to be the village chief and a man of great influence, accused Amelia of witchcraft, claiming she had mixed the wrong medicine on purpose. The villagers believed his words without question. They burned her house to the ground, and Amelia barely escaped with her life. Heartbroken and full of resentment, she went into hiding, doing whatever she could to survive. Over time, her pain and anger twisted her. The once kind and faithful midwife slowly turned into someone who sought revenge. She began studying forbidden knowledge, mixing strange medicines, and performing rituals that were said to be dangerous and unholy. Before long, rumors spread about a witch who lived deep within the forest. Amelia never called herself a witch, but she also stopped denying it. Since witches are often connected to curses and potions, Amelia's ability could involve using chemicals to curse survivors. Her playstyle might be similar to the hullabaloo who throws objects that cause different effects. However, Amelia's curses would have unique outcomes, perhaps reversing a survivor's controls, or making survivors immobile. I've always wanted a nun character in the game, especially since there's already a canonical nun, Lorraine Miller, who went missing after the White Sand Street Asylum was shut down. That's why the next character that came to my mind is a female survivor, which is Lorraine Miller, the nun. Lorraine Miller once worked for the church and served as a staff member at the White Sand Street Asylum under priest Duke. At one point, she supervised a volunteer named Lydia Jones, who confided in her that some of the patients there didn't actually show signs of mental illness. Sometimes after that, Lorraine was promoted to head of the asylum. Things took a darker turn when a patient named Kurt Frank arrived. After a series of psychological tests and conversations, Kurt was declared sane and released, though Lorraine didn't believe it. She filed a protest to Father Duke, questioning the decision and the true nature of Kurt's mental state. Not long after that, the asylum was suddenly closed, and Sister Lorraine disappeared without a trace. I imagine her backstory involving her discovering that what the church called purification of the patients was actually cruelty disguised as faith. Maybe, in the end, she realizes that everything Lydia Jones said was true. Racked with guilt, she seeks forgiveness for her part in it all. To atone for her sins, she goes to Oletus Manor, hoping to face the ghosts of her past and find peace. Since Lorraine is a nun, I picture her ability revolving around prayer. Through prayer, she could give buffs to her teammates, like protecting them from one hit or giving them a temporary speed boost. Her prayers could also weaken the hunter, perhaps slowing them down or temporarily disabling their abilities. The idea of a disguiser came from imagining a survivor who could mimic other survivors' appearance and ability to confuse the hunter, kind of like what happens when a survivor is rescued by the first officer. But in this case, it's the disguiser herself who has that power and chooses who to imitate. Her name is Mariette Madeleine, a French female survivor. Mariette worked at a theater as a costume designer and makeup artist. Sometimes, when the lead actress was too ill to perform, Mariette would step in to take her place on stage. To her surprise, audiences loved her performances. The applause, the spotlight, and the admiration slowly started to change her. She began to dream of being the star for real. In her desire to become the lead actress permanently, Mariette sought help from a mysterious chemist. After that, something strange began to happen. The lead actress's minor illness got worse and worse, until she could no longer perform at all. Mariette took her place more often, and when the lead actress eventually died, Mariette finally became the theater's shining star. But fame doesn't come without whispers. Rumors began to spread that Mariette had been mixing harmful substances into the actress's makeup to keep her sick. Mariette denied it, calling it nonsense. But the next day, she vanished from the stage, leaving behind a small pouch of chemicals known to be dangerous to human health. Her name, Mariette, means Little Marie, which can also be connected to the word marionette, a puppet with strings. In a way, she became just that, a puppet of her own guilt, her sins, and her fear of being exposed. As for her ability, it would revolve around disguise. Mariette could temporarily take on the appearance of another survivor, tricking the hunter into chasing the wrong person. Alternatively, she might also be able to disguise another survivor to look like her, turning the tables and creating confusion on both sides. We already have the mercenary and the coordinator, who are both from military backgrounds. There's also the rumored Navy officer, Miles Donald, who is said to have joined the Manor game and is known as the husband of the hunter Michiko. Still, I couldn't help but wonder, what if there was another character with a different kind of military story? That's how I came up with the idea of a male survivor named Colin Roberts. There's no special meaning behind his name, though if I really wanted to stretch it, it could be inspired by Frederick Roberts, a British marshal who was considered one of the most successful generals of his time. But Colin's story is quite the opposite of that. Colin was an army officer who returned home with medals on his chest but scars on his mind. His story centers around something we now know as PTSD. It is a condition that causes people to relive traumatic experiences over and over again. For someone like Colin, it could mean constant flashbacks of the battlefield, the sound of gunfire, the screams of fallen comrades, and the terror of nearly dying. The memories are so vivid that sometimes he can't tell what's real and what's not. During one mission, Colin's unit was ambushed. His entire team was wiped out, leaving only him and his executive officer, John, to escape. Both were decorated as heroes when they returned to England. John continued his service in the army as if nothing had happened, but Colin couldn't move on. The memories haunted him day and night. Eventually, he left the army and tried to live a normal life, taking on odd jobs. But he could never stay in one place for long because of his trauma. One day, a mysterious manor owner offered him a chance, a job that promised to erase his past completely. Desperate for peace, Colin accepted the offer without hesitation. Because of his PTSD, Colin refuses to touch weapons again. His abilities would be mostly passive, reflecting his instincts as a soldier and his struggles with trauma. For example, he could move faster when a hunter is nearby or when he's rescuing another survivor. He might also have the ability to knock through weak walls, creating new paths for escape, similar to the breakable walls in the Red Church map. However, he struggles with decoding since the sound of cipher machines reminds him of gunfire, causing him to work slower. I'm still unsure what his final ability should be, but I think his concept could be developed further. Maybe someone with a similar character idea could help refine it. This survivor started from a simple thought. What if a survivor could block windows and fix broken pallets? Maybe even lift a dropped pallet back up and make it usable again? That idea led me to create a male survivor named Ben Chippendale. His name was inspired by Thomas Chippendale, a famous 18th century woodworker known for creating the Chippendale furniture style. Ben's story, though, is quite different from his namesake. Ever since he was young, Ben showed great talent in carpentry. His life was steady and promising until one terrible accident ruined everything. A major contract he was working on failed, and that failure led to financial disaster. His reputation was destroyed, and debt began piling up until his life completely fell apart. Now, deep in debt, Ben takes on any small job he can find just to survive. One day, he receives an offer from a mysterious manor owner. Restore the furniture in the manor in exchange for a huge sum of money. Desperate to clear his debts, Ben accepts the job without thinking twice. Armed with his trusty hammer, Ben's ability revolves around woodwork. He can use wood to block windows, preventing both hunters and survivors from vaulting over them. The hunter would have to destroy the barricade to pass through again. Ben can also repair broken pallets, restoring them for reuse, and even lift fallen pallets back up to their original positions. There are several meanings behind the word doppelganger, but the one I'm focusing on is its meaning in folklore. In old stories, a doppelganger is described as a supernatural double of a living person, an eerie copy that follows or haunts them. Some say it's a ghost. Others believe it's a strange, paranormal being. Either way, it's often seen as a sign of bad luck or even death. That mysteriousness is exactly what I want to highlight in this character. Unlike the others, this being has no clear origin, no real name, and no past. There are no records of who it once was, if it was ever a person at all. Some say it was once a young boy who studied chemicals for too long and forgot who they were. Others believe it's a physical manifestation of the manor's memories, or an echo of everything and everyone that ever entered it. Sometimes it appears as a little girl, other times as a doctor, or even as the faint shadow of a photographer's haunting presence. Whatever it is, it copies people perfectly, but without the warmth of humanity. It moves like someone trying to act human and almost getting it right. As the legend suggests, the doppelganger's ability revolves around imitation. It can copy the appearance of another survivor for a limited time, mimicking them so accurately that it's almost impossible to tell them apart. Survivors will, however, be alerted to its presence, perhaps through a faint heartbeat, or an eerie, distant laugh that echoes when the doppelganger draws near. While disguised, it cannot attack survivors, but its movements and behavior are so realistic that it can cause confusion and panic among the group. Overall, its ability works similarly to the disguiser we discussed earlier, but with a more supernatural and unsettling tone rather than the logical one. Several movies inspired me when I came up with this character. Those are The Exorcist, Grave Encounters, A Haunting in Venice, and a few webtoons. Yes, I read webtoons too, to be honest. Edward Murphy, The Exorcist, is known by many as someone who can communicate with ghosts and perform exorcisms. With the help of his assistant, he travels to haunted places to banish spirits that people claim to see. What most people don't know is that Edward isn't an exorcist at all. Every haunting that happens during his rituals is just a trick he sets up with his assistant. Edward doesn't believe in ghosts. To him, every fear people have can be explained by science. Still, he takes advantage of people's beliefs because it's profitable. But one day, things take a dark turn. His assistant suddenly claims to have seen a real ghost and dies shortly after. Without his partner, Edward's tricks start to fall apart. He can't perform exorcisms anymore. Then one day, he receives an eerie letter sent from his deceased assistant, or at least from someone claiming to be him. The strange letter invites Edward to Alita's manor, saying that there, he'll finally find a real ghost. Edward's gameplay revolves around exorcism. His outfit matches his role as a priest-like exorcist, and he carries a bottle of holy water as his main tool. He can use it to blind and disable the hunter for a short time. He can also pour it on the ground to create a holy area. When the hunter steps into it, they move slower, can't use abilities, and are temporarily blinded. However, the holy water can only be used twice per match. Diana Loft is a strict but fair school teacher. Most of her students are scared of her, but there's one poor student who understands that behind her serious attitude, Diana genuinely cares. She often stays late after school to tutor the said student and has even given her own lunch to that one student. Over time, other students start to believe that this particular student is Diana's favorite. Jealousy grows, and soon, the student becomes the target of bullying. Then, one day, a tragic incident happens. One of the bullies dies under mysterious circumstances. The bullied student is accused, and the parents of the victim start pointing fingers at Diana, claiming she encouraged the violence. To avoid public scandal, the school expels her without even giving her a chance to explain herself. The public turns against her, convinced that she manipulated her student into murder. But one day, Diana receives a letter from that same student. The letter says they're now working at a manor and want to meet her there to finally reveal the truth about what really happened that day. Hoping to clear her name and learn the truth herself, Diana sets off for the manor. Diana's story stems from my own experience when I worked as a teacher back then, as well as a modern issue among teachers. Teachers often face harsh criticism from parents who easily believe their children's stories without checking the facts. Many teachers work tirelessly and are underpaid, yet they're still blamed when students fail instead of being supported. As for gameplay, Diana is a support-type survivor. She carries a schoolbook as her main tool. Her ability creates a dynamic aura that boosts her teammates' speed, helping them decode, heal, and move faster while they're within her range. However, while the aura is active, Diana's own decoding speed decreases, symbolizing how she focuses on supporting her students rather than herself. Well guys, that's quite a long list, and it's still not complete. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm not really good at drawing, so there aren't any visuals for these characters. You'll just have to use your imagination to picture them for now. I'd really appreciate it if any of you could help refine or expand on these original character ideas. Feel free to drop your thoughts or suggestions down in the comments. Thanks so much for watching, and as always, I'll see you next time.